Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, so today I am going to be doing a review of David Levithan and Nina LaCour's You Know Me Well, which is their newest book that just came out this year. And if you know anything about David Levithan, he originally wrote Boy Meets Boy, which has gotten like worldwide acclaim. And then he's gone on to write a lot of other books individually, like Two Boys Kissing. And he has also written books with many other authors, including like John Green. He wrote Will Grayson. And Rachel Crone. He wrote, I can't remember, Invisibility. I am a huge David Levithan fan. I also think he's sexy down, and just to put that out there. And do you guys think that authors are sexy sometimes? I do. Like, there's just something about an author, right? I mean, and I'm an author. But anyway, I love all of his stuff. I love his ingenuity and his creativity and just the way that he is able to weave a story. I love that he is also not afraid to break boundaries and put things into books that are maybe not very realistic, but that he likes to see where the characters go. And you can tell that when you read his books, that he really kind of falls in love with his characters, and, you know, he likes to see where they go. He gets excited by their actions, and I think that he's a very organic writer in that he, and maybe I'm just guessing, I don't know, but it seems to me that he allows his characters to kind of tell their own story where they need to go. That being said, I won't say that I have loved everything by David Levithan. Like, you know, Two Boys Kissing, fantastic, 5 stars easily. I loved everything about that book. Boy Meets Boy is not my favorite book in the world. I liked it. It was probably one of the very first LGBT YA contemporary books that I read, so it kind of introduced me to that field. Every Day, I really liked, but its sequel, Another Day, I did not like at all. And then Invisibility, which is about somebody that's invisible, I didn't really care for that book either. So it's weird because, like, you know, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which he wrote, I loved. And You Know Me Well by David Levithan and Nina LaCour, I absolutely loved. I gave it 5 stars. I easily could have read this in one sitting, maybe 2, if I was willing to dedicate a little bit more time to reading this week. But I was like super tired every night, and I just didn't want to read. But like every time I did, I sat down and I read like 50 to 100 pages. So it's real short. It's only 250 pages. I buddy read this with Ashley at Ashley Shannon, and I will link all of her information below. She's finishing the book tonight, and she's putting up her review video. We were going to Google Chat about it and then put that video up. I'm very scared of technology, so because of me, we decided not to do that. We said we would do that for our next book. And we're going to give a lot of notice ahead of time. She and I will probably pick LGBT books to read, contemporary LGBT books, which it doesn't even really matter if that's your choice of reading, because this book is so fantastic, whether you have any interest in LGBT books or not. Like, it's just such a fantastic read. And I don't even really think it matters if you like YA, because I think that you could read this from, you know, an adult point of view as well if you're not a lover of YA. So let me give you the premise behind this book. So it's told back and forth between two people, and that's very much how David Levithan does his co-writing books, or co-written books when he writes them together with somebody, is that they tend to go back and forth between two different perspectives. So the two main characters in this book are Mark, who I think is a junior in high school, and then Katie, who likes to be called Kate, and she is a senior in high school, and she's an artist, and she's getting ready to graduate and go to UCLA for college. And she's very scared about going to college. She's very unsure she wants to go to college. And then there's Mark, who is completely out, and he is in love, and he's a baseball player, so very athletic, very popular at school, and he is in love with his best friend Ryan, who is like editor of the literary magazine in high school and very artsy and different. And so the whole thing starts taking place, and I thought when I was reading it that the entire book, do you love this? I just put it on my shoulder. I wish I had square shoulders and it would just sit there. Oh, look. But the whole thing I thought would take place, the longer this happens, the more you guys will laugh, don't you think? So I thought that this whole thing would just take place over one night, because when I read the synopsis, that's really kind of what it was giving me, but it really actually takes place over Pride Week. which is really cool. It's really ingenious, and I had never seen anybody do that before in a book. So, and maybe it's been done. I just haven't seen it. And so the first night, Mark and Ryan have snuck out of Mark's house, and they've gone to the city, and they end up at this gay bar. And when I started reading it at first, I was like, how realistic is it for two 17-year-old boys to go to a gay bar in San Francisco? And then I was like, Peter, are you forgetting your past a little bit? Like the days of having a fake ID. Did he just say that? Yes, I had a fake ID. I went to gay bars before I was 21. Get me for it now. I'm 44. We used to go in there and didn't know what to order drink-wise. And it's cute because they kind of address that in the book a little bit. And I remember that, like, and it's so funny because they drink gin and tonics in the book because it's like the only thing that this one girl knows how to order. And we did the same thing. Like I can remember like my dad would always like drink gin and tonics. So I would, like, anyway, it's super cute. I don't want to tell you what happens at the bar because it's kind of the premise for like what takes off. And then Kate has come to San Francisco for the night with her friends, and she's a lesbian, and she has very close friends that are lesbians. And so they're going to hang out at this girl's house, all under the premise for her to meet this girl named Violet, who she's kind of had this love affair from a distance with. Like they don't know each other, they've never met, and she's the cousin of Kate's best friend. And she is like dreamy and like a circus performer, you think, and very like worldly and gorgeous and short hair and artsy and different. And like Kate really wants to meet her, and she's so excited because like she's already kind of in love with the idea of Violet. So anyway, I will not say anything else about this book, but let me just say that that night, which I think is Saturday night, hold on. I think it starts off on a Saturday night. See, and they do it like by like the day of the week, which I love. That Saturday night for Kate and Mark, because they obviously end up meeting that night and becoming friends, that night ends up horribly wrong and horribly right all at the same time. And so many things happen in this book that when I was reading it, I was like, this would never happen in a million years. And it has a lot to do with social media, so I don't want to kind of ruin it, but it's so funny because like at the end of the book, when they kind of like, this mystery occurs that you don't know really what it is until the end of the book. And at the end of the book, when they kind of relive this, what happened, I was like, that totally could happen. Like, I totally could see that happening. So it's just a feel-good book, you guys. It's very, very real. I think anybody that is gay, that is fallen in love with somebody, fallen in love with the idea of somebody, fallen in love with a friend, a best friend, will so relate to this book. Like, I have fallen in love with a best friend. I have fallen in love with a friend. I have fallen in love with the idea of somebody. You know, all of these things. I've wanted to be popular. I've wanted to escape. I've wanted to just get lost. All of the feelings that I have felt in my life are like found in this book. And it's just so beautifully told. And the voices, like this is the one thing I love about David Levithan, is that he is always very authentic in the voices of the teenagers that he writes. So like, the things that happen are things that would, like, I mean, they talk about sex, they talk about all of that, you know, in the book. You talk about drugs and drinking and all that. I mean, they aren't like they aren't shy of talking about those things, if that makes sense. And I'm really interested because every time I read a book with somebody now, I'm like, I just read with Malice, with Philippe, the YA reader, and he did not love it as much as I did, and I kind of knew he would feel that way. And Ashley hasn't really told me a whole lot of how she feels about it. I know she's like almost done with it. But I will say for me, like the book was really good. There was a lull in the middle. I wouldn't say I got bored, but I was like kind of like ready, like it's paced very well because it's paced throughout days. And then it, like each day it goes back and forth from their perspective. So like you can't really get that bored with it. But interestingly enough, in the last 50 pages, so much happens and so much changes that I think even if you didn't really like it until then, the last 50 pages would make you fall in love with the book. I fell in love with this book. I thought it was fantastic. I really, really liked it. And I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. So if you want to go check out my review there, it'll send you to this review. So yeah, I loved it so much. And The sad thing about David Levithan is that I've read all of his books. So like I'm constantly waiting for the next David Levithan book to come out. I think he actually has one coming out at the beginning of the year. That's just him by himself, because I'm always constantly excited to see what is coming from him next. The other thing I love about David Levithan is in his books he includes kind of like how he got the idea for the book. And at the very end of the book, at the very end of the book, in the acknowledgments, he explains how they came up with the idea for this book and how it took, how the artistic process happened. And I just love reading that about authors and knowing that like they fell in love with telling the story. Does that make sense? Like I love that so much, because like I think sometimes we think that like authors very much just sit behind a computer and just like type away, and that's not my process in writing a book. And so when I meet other authors and they're like, you go, oh, like I loved Mark, and they're like, oh, I loved Mark too, and they get so excited about the author. I think that's so, so cool. And you could just tell that Nina LaCour and David Levithan loved these characters. I mean, they were very considerate of them, very nice to them. It was the greatest book. It was just a sweet, feel-good book. And you should read it now because it takes place in the summer. It actually takes place like the last week of school. And yeah, so that's my review. You Know Me Well by Nina LaCour and David Levithan, and I gave it 5 stars. And if you guys like this review, please give it 2 thumbs up. Oh, you can't. Give it 1 big thumbs up. And if you like my videos and my channel, subscribe. It's free. What's free in the world? You can always just slide past my video, but it will make me really, really happy. And follow me on all of my social media, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all that stuff, you guys. I try to follow you back, or at least comment to you if you tweet me or Snapchat me or whatever. So many people Snapchat me, and I love that. So anyway, smiles. I love you guys. Bye.